Well, good morning, you guys, and welcome back to Kid Zone. I'm so glad you're here today. We are continuing our story with the book of Exodus and Moses leading God's people out of slavery. Last week, Moses and the Israelites had escaped out of Egypt into the wilderness. They didn't know the way, but God knew the way, and He was going to show them. He promised them, I will bring you to a new home, a special land, and I will look after you. I am with you. While the Israelites were in the desert, God sent a big cloud for them to follow, a pillar of smoke stretching up to the sky. It moved in front of them as they walked, and it shaded them from the heat of the day. And when it was time to rest, it stopped, and so the people stopped. All through the cold desert nights, it kept them warm like a glowing fire. God led His people through the desert to the edge of a great sea, what we call the Red Sea. They were just wondering how to cross it, trying to figure it out, when they suddenly heard a terrible, thundering, pounding noise, almost like horses' hooves. And when they looked back, they saw that Pharaoh decided to not give up, and his army were coming after them. Once again, Pharaoh had changed his mind. Get my slaves back, he said. And so he charged out into the desert with 600 of his fastest horsemen and every single chariot from Egypt. What in the world were the Israelites going to do? In front of them, they were facing a big sea. It was so big there was no way around it, and they didn't have time to even try. There was also no way through it. It was too deep. They didn't have boats, and they couldn't swim because it was too far. Pharaoh's army of men were gaining ground on them, and the Israelites were in a panic. I would have been too. They all told Moses in their panic, they cried out to him, we would have been better to stay slaves in Egypt than we are here with you. There is no way out of this. Moses tried to calm them by reminding them, don't be afraid. God knows there is nothing we can do here on our own. God will rescue you today. The Lord Himself will fight for you. Just stay calm. Well, another minute or two and it would have all been over, but then a strange thing started to happen. Moses lifted his shepherd's staff in the air as God told him to do, and as he did, God made that pillar of smoke moved, and it moved behind the Israelites, and it hid them from the Egyptians. And then God sent a strong wind to blow all night long. It blew the water of the Red Sea into two towering walls of water right in front of them, and a dry pathway opened up across the sea. God's people walked across that dry land to the other side. When the Egyptians tried to follow, the walls of water crashed back down around them and swallowed them up. All of a sudden, God's people, the Israelites, they realized we're safe, and they celebrated with laughter and dancing and thanking God. He had come through with the impossible. Where there had been no way out, God had made a way. Many years later, once again, as we're going to continue to learn, God is going to make a way where there is no way. From the beginning of creation, as we've talked about in Genesis, God's children have been running from Him and hiding. God knew us, His children, would never be happy without Him. But we can't get back to Him by ourselves. And they were lost and didn't know the way back. But God knew the way, and one day He would show them. Well, we're going to continue the story with Moses and the Israelites in the wilderness, in the desert, next week. But go ahead and take some time this morning with the discussion questions, and I'll see you guys next week.